Peace, y'all. Today we are talking about Seven of Pentacles. As always, you can get the anthropology on my Etsy shop, where I go through the minor arcana, major arcana, the ancestors, and the orishas. And of course, you can also buy the whole thing. But just check out what I have on Etsy, okay? So, oh, and also check out the playlist, for all the free videos and to see everything that we've been talking about so far with the African American Tarot, okay? So I'm actually going to show this picture of Henry Flipper. He's in the background here. Can y'all see him? There he is, Henry Flipper. Ashe to him. And here is a picture of him in military uniform, I should say. And I'm going to go ahead and read on him just off the top of my head. This man is Black Excellence. Went to West Point, one of the first African Americans, I believe, to go to West Point. A Buffalo Soldier, one of the highest ranking, and was unfortunately tried for embezzling $2,000. And you know how the court system goes. These things go on for a while, right? But basically it was found that he didn't embezzle it. And there were two other soldiers that were found to embezzle but were never tried. He eventually received a presidential pardon by Bill Clinton in 1999, but he died in I want to say decades before 1999. So let me go into the article a little bit so we can get more clarity on the situation with Henry Flipper and how this relates to the Seven of Pentacles, right? And also how it relates to the god Tano. We're going to get all into that. So, he is the first African-American graduate of the United States Military Academy at West Point in 1877, despite being born into slavery to a shoemaker. Let's see. Yeah, his younger brother, also became respected members of the communities as a military officer. So, basically, he comes from excellence. His family was able to excel in many things despite being born into slavery. Commissioned as a second lieutenant in the U.S. Army after completing West Point, he became the highest ranking and most famous of the Buffalo Soldiers, which are African Americans in all Black regiments stationed at Western military installations. Okay, his assignment included Fort Sill, Oklahoma, and Fort Elliott, Fort Concho, Fort Davis, and Fort Quitman, which were in Texas. Okay, he earned distinction during the Victorio campaign, which pitted the Apache leader Victorio against the U.S. Army in Texas and New Mexico between 1879 and 1880. Okay, and while on that assignment, he became the first officer of color to lead the Buffalo Soldiers into battle. Okay, now let's talk about the embezzlement. This is when his military career ended. And I think it's so important to talk about this because we'll see when we talk about I just saw 333 as well. We'll see when we talk about the god Tano. And when we just talk about the Seven of Pentacles in general, how this all fits in. And you see this guy running, like this man is Black Excellence, and you see death running with him. So $2,000 of government funds while serving at quartermaster at Fort Davis, Texas. He was charged with taking the funds and then lying about it when confronted. Despite appeals by Flipper's supporters who argued that his close association with Molly Dwyer, the sister-in-law of Captain Nolan, was the real motive behind the charges and the harsh sentence. And they have in parentheses here, 2 white officers were found guilty of embezzlement, but neither was dishonorably dismissed from the Army. So basically they're saying that this whole embezzlement thing was racially motivated. And President Chester A. Arthur refused to alter the court-martial verdict. Flipper was discharged from the Army on June 30th, 1882. He spent much of the rest of his life challenging the charges and attempting to clear his name, which we know wasn't fully cleared until 1999 by Bill Clinton. He wrote 2 autobiographies, The Colored Cadet at West Point and Negro Frontiersman, The Western Memoirs of Henry O. Flipper. If you're interested in this ancestor, you can definitely check that out. And despite his many accomplishments, which we just listed, right? He is most remembered in history as a casualty of racism in the military for his court-martial trial primarily on the charge of embezzlement. There was also a granted honorable discharge by President Jimmy Carter, but again, he didn't receive a full president pardon until 1999, and he died at the age of 84 in 1940. So, President Jimmy Carter gave him this honorable discharge in 1976 and Bill Clinton 1999, y'all. So if you didn't know, now you definitely know about Henry Flipper and the things that he had to go through. So with this challenging history, right, behind the card, let's go ahead and look at the god Tano and how this all ties in. Now, I don't have a lot of information, but I have a little bit to work with, y'all. Okay. So Tano is the general name for several gods which have their origin in the Tano River. We see him running by this river, or Tano River. These unusual and special river gods are very ancient and powerful. Their purpose is to maintain family, social, and national order. They are great healers of psychic, spiritual, emotional, mental, physical, and social illnesses. Okay. Now let's go down. That was in the Encyclopedia of African Religion. So the Tano River runs 400 kilometers, approximately 250 miles from the Ghana Ivory Coast border in the north down toward the Atlantic Ocean, where it empties into the sea. It is a highly regarded river by the Akan culture and has been associated with many of the great events and historical deeds of the Akan. Indeed, at the head of the river where it begins is the Tano Sacred Grove, noted in history and by custom for its beautifully mystical clusters of striking sandstone formations, all enclosed in a semi-deciduous forest. Here, the earliest settlements of the Akan are said to have taken place. The people emerged from the land in this region and then began to create the first centralized state, these Bono people as. And that's where I cut it off there. Now, wow, I have more information on this. But basically, this god is running against death. And it's either going to be Tano or death that gets to this man first, okay? And whoever reaches this man first is basically going to be this man's fate. If Tano is going to basically resurrect him or empower him, what's another word? Heal him, from whatever is going on, or is death. Kind of like Henry Flipper running against this charge, right? And seeing, even though I guess death took him before his name was able to get healed, but just seeing if these charges were going to pan out or not for him. And life can feel like that sometimes, especially when it comes to gossip, rumors, things like that. Things that have to do with your pinnacles on earth and challenging, your name is a pinnacle. Can definitely be considered a pinnacle. Pinnacles is anything that we can touch on this earthly realm, but also that matters in this earthly realm. And unfortunately, sometimes our name, while it might be clear in the spiritual world, right, might not be clear in this in this physical plane. Something to really think about that can take your readings deeper with the information of the God of Tano and Henry Flipper. And I definitely encourage you guys to do your own research on it. Because just very, very interesting in general. All of these cards and what our ancestors were going through, and on the gods as well. Okay, so if you didn't know, again, now you know the god Tano, the river Tano, and Henry Flipper.